He hid under his mother's body. Her sister was murdered and her father taken hostage. He was held for 52 days. Some of the most important stories that would have been lost to history are now documented in a new film, The Children of October 7th, which recently premiered at the Museum of Tolerance in Jerusalem. Singer and dancer Montana Tucker hosted the documentary, conducting interviews with the children.
On October 7th, about between 400 to 500 terrorists invaded my kibbutz. During the attack, my dad was murdered pretty early in the morning. Then they set my uncle's house on fire. They kidnapped my cousin, my 15-year-old cousin. He's now 17. He was released in the deal between Israel and Hamas, and shot my grandma. We were rescued, me and my family, at around 5:30 p.m. We saw unimaginable sights that I wish I didn't see.
Tucker, a prominent influencer who felt an instant connection to the project, shared why it held such deep significance for her.
You know, my grandmother was 13 years old when she was taken to Auschwitz in the Holocaust, and so I grew up hearing her stories. So these stories are so similar to what my grandmother would share with me or my Zaidi would share with me.
Presenting the stories of young people requires great sensitivity and trust, a responsibility Montana Tucker took to heart.
Had a special connection with children, and I'm really grateful that they've always felt comfortable with me. And when I got the opportunity to make this documentary and to be a part of this documentary, of course I immediately said yes. And it was really important for me for the parents to feel comfortable, for the guardians to feel comfortable, for the children to feel comfortable with me.
Israeli President Isaac Herzog and his wife Michal attended the film's opening, a gesture that symbolized the nation's unwavering resolve to honor these young heroes. Their presence emphasized Israel's recognition of the unimaginable trials faced by its children during the horrors of October 7th and celebrated the extraordinary courage and resilience these young people displayed in the face of profound darkness.
Even more than a year later, one of the hardest facts to comprehend remains that throughout those horrific hours and days, there were also children there. The fact that such delicate, sweet, and innocent souls, so full of value, were exposed to the worst of horrors. That all of this happened to them as well. This almost unbearable fact stirs in us, among other feelings, a deep sense of our failure.
The documentary tells the stories of children who survived the inconceivable atrocities. Among them is Eitan Yahalomi, a 12-year-old who was taken hostage to Gaza and held captive for 52 days. His family endured a harrowing escape, walking for hours back into Israel after being separated during the attack. Amit Cohen, Eitan's best friend, managed to escape his burning home and later organized a youth protest to demand his friend's return. Rotem Mathias, who's 16 years old, witnessed the murder of both his parents and survived by hiding under his mother's body. Yael Idan faced unthinkable trauma when her sister was murdered and her father was taken hostage. Asaf Becker, the film's director, reflects on the profound emotional weight of the stories shared in the film, emphasizing the challenge of presenting these raw accounts while safeguarding the children who live them.
I think all the stories that were told on this film are stories that are not easy to hear, and it's to try and bring the story as they are while still protecting the kids that are telling their story. I think this combination was, but for me, each story and watching the film time and time again, each time it's the sheer reality of October 7th.
Ella shared the rest of her story with the Media Line.
My grandma was rescued with 3 bullets in her. She had 2 bullets in her liver and one that hurt her elbow and back. She was immediately, after like 9 hours of bleeding, she was taken to the hospital. She needed urgent surgery and she survived her injury, her and my grandpa, who had a sharp nail in his leg. And then about 4 days later, they told me that they found my dad's body shot and half burned. So we immediately buried him. He was the first person to be buried from my kibbutz, from Be'eri.
The Museum of Tolerance, where the film premiered, recently established an exhibition on the 7th of October. Jonathan Rees, the museum's operations manager, said the exhibition underscores the shared grief and resilience of all Israelis in the wake of that tragic day. No one has been spared from the heartbreak.
We have opened just recently an exhibition about the 7th of October. It's called 0629 From Darkness to Light. The curator of this exhibition is Malki Shem Tov, whose son, Omer Shem Tov, is still being kidnapped in Gaza. He worked with us before opening this exhibition, and immediately after the exhibition we start shooting testimonials of women that suffered throughout the atrocities of the 7th of October. It's interactive, it's immersive, and it tells the story of the 7th of October from women's point of view, from people who actually volunteered and suffered throughout this war.
Montana Tucker hopes her 14 million followers will share these stories.
Listen, I'm definitely not stopping at all anytime soon until the hostages are back. I think that's something I'm continuing to do, is to keep the hostages at the forefront, share the children's stories, but always talk about the hostages until they're all returned. I won't stop advocating for Israel until real change is made.
These deeply moving documentaries bring into life testimonials of children who survived terrible massacre of October 7th. Tonight is about strength and resilience. From Jerusalem, Veronica Nefach reporting for the Media Line.